Welcome back to another episode of Steve Talks About Night Vision Stuff. On today's episode, we're just going to talk about the basics. A lot of you guys have picked up a PVS-14 recently or are thinking about doing it. So this video is just really going to go over what comes in the bag, tips and tricks, maintenance, etc. So let's get into it. So when you get your PVS-14 from us, it'll essentially look just like this with the caps both on the front and rear. The front is a day cap, so what that means is you'll see that there's a tiny hole here. Theoretically, you could use this device and expose it to higher than normal light levels without inflicting tube damage, but I wouldn't really trust it. We just kind of use this as more of a storage cap. I see a lot of guys get Butler Creek caps or some kind of those fancy diaphragm caps. So it's really up to you what you want to use. Some people use bikini covers, so the ones that have like the kind of the rubber band style, so that works as well. We use a lot of those on our binoculars. I'm going to be honest, you probably lose this. I've seen some guys put a little piece of Velcro here and a little piece of Velcro there, and they just kind of stick it, so it never really comes out. But the number of times we've had to send these out or replace these is actually quite a bit. But keep that in mind. This is actually quite handy, just as a backup cap for you to have. This is just the back protective cap. You can go ahead and store that and put that away. We find that these caps are extremely good just from like a storage perspective. It protects all your lenses, protects everything. Kind of good idea to hang on to these. If you need more, contact us. We can hook you up. So yeah, go ahead and take the caps off. So kind of going over the device now. So moving from the front, you'll basically have your objective lenses, basically where all of the light is gathered. What you're going to want to do here when you first get it is put the battery in, power on the device, and hopefully in a dark room, hopefully outside. This is usually best done outside because of the fact that you want a bit of distance. Our devices ship with the infinity set, which means that when you turn this device in until it hits the hard stop, your device should already be set for infinity. If you wanted to adjust it, for example, if you wanted to use this device and you wanted to do admin work and you wanted to focus it for up close, you can. Basically by just turning this front lens assembly, and you'll notice when you look through it that things that are close to you will now be in focus. And then once again, if you want to now look at objects that are further away, all you do is rotate the eyepiece, rotate the objective lens so that it hits the stop, and then you should be back to infinity. If you do need to adjust the infinity stop for whatever reason, when you look around the ring, you'll notice that one of these 6 holes, so there's 3 on one side and 3 on the other, you will find a hex grub screw in there. And the hex grub screw takes a 0.7 mil key. All you do is just back that out, and then all you would do is unscrew the objective ring a little bit, and then you can basically turn this in and out. So basically this rides on a bunch of threads on the inside. So you'll notice that when I turn this, it'll sort of back this out, and then all you would do is you would crank this objective lens down onto the infinity ring, or the infinity stop ring. Basically acts as a jam nut, and then verify your infinity, and then go ahead and reinstall the grub screw again. Don't apply too much torque or you'll strip the threads. A little bit goes a long way. Moving down from that, just your standard battery cap. Your battery indicator is going to be shown here. Positives is kind of on the inside, kind of going in. This is your gain knob. If you bought your PVS-14 from us, these will be variable gain tubes. This is basically what you can use to dial the gain up and down. So other people call it manual gain or variable gain. And what that means is that you can actually make the image a little bit dimmer. When you make the image dimmer, it has a few added benefits. It actually reduces a lot of that signal noise. It actually allows you to see some of the finer details. So it could be a valuable tool to have. Just keep in mind that for the most part, at least from our experience, you're probably going to want to set this gain knob to the max. So you kind of, able to gather and display the most amount of information possible. And then if you do find yourself having a bit of eye strain and you do need to dim it down, you can always just use this knob to bring that light level down to where it's a bit more comfortable. So that option's there. Moving on from that, you'll see where kind of these 3 little holes here. These 2 are basically electrical contacts for the auto off to work. And then this basically central area is where your J-arm would really screw into. So all of our PVS-14s ship with the USGI J-arm, or a bayonet J-arm. And essentially it's pretty straightforward. You'll notice that there's a hump on the J-arm itself, which corresponds to a valley. Essentially what you would do is basically apply, you know, the hump into the valley, line it up. So when you're tightening this, if you're using the bayonet J-arm, thumb tight is good enough. You can apply a little bit more force to it, but actually, you know, you'll find that it's actually hard to crank it up and crank it a lot more than you really need to. If you're using aftermarket J-arms like, you know, the Mark IV Designs or the Noise Fighters or some other J-arm, it'll come with a flathead, and then you basically want to do like a quarter. You want to have a quarter to turn it, or just a flathead screwdriver will work. Again, don't go nuts on this. If you really wanted to, you can apply a small amount of Loctite onto the threads before you secure it, but don't use red Loctite. Just always use blue so that you're able to break it free should you need to. So something to keep in mind there. These do tend to loosen up over time just because of the fact that, you know, you have a device and it's kind of swinging around. But so yeah, the blue Loctite might make sense for you if you do find it loosening quite a bit. And then moving back from there, you have your power knob. So essentially how this device works is if you have it set up, usually it's going to be oriented like in this configuration, either some kind of angle like this or some kind of angle like that, but the power knob is always going to be pointing towards you. To turn the device on is pretty straightforward, just a simple twist, and then the device will be on. And then if you want to turn the built-in IR illuminator, which I forgot to show you, so there's a built-in IR illuminator on the front here. It's basically invisible to the naked eye, can only be seen via night vision. So in situations where you're in a very dark room and your image intensifier is struggling and you need some supplementary illumination, it's a built-in on board here. So what all you would really do here is after the device is in the on position, you would pull the knob towards you, so pull this way, and then twist one more time. So it gives you an additional click. So you'll notice here that the knob now kind of sticks up a little bit. So that basically means your IR illuminator is on. Another indication that your IR illuminator is on is there's going to be a little red light on the inside of your eyepiece to tell you that it's on. That little red light also doubles as a low battery indicator, which flashes when your battery is low, telling you that you need to change your battery. So to turn off the IR illuminator, just back it out once and you'll notice that the knob now kind of recesses back to the original starting position. Your image intensifier will still be on. The IR illum is now off, and then to turn the device off, just go ahead and kind of basically turn it one more time counterclockwise. One thing I forgot to mention, and this is very important, is anytime you're not using the device, meaning that you're not actively using it, you're about to store it, you're about to put it down, whatever, like you know, maybe you put your helmet down to do something or whatnot, you want to get into the habit of removing your battery. The reason why that is I've seen a lot of devices, not even PVS-14, just a lot of night vision devices where the user has basically left the battery in and then they sort of just left it lying around and the device was powered on, and essentially that will imprint a burn onto the image intensifier, which usually is not reversible but can be reversible. But just kind of get in the habit of taking the battery out when you're not using it. You know, and then again, like I said, this goes for any device that you may own in the future. Moving on to the eyepiece itself. So you'll notice that there's a bunch of holes here. These are really just for us in terms of like installing it and applying the appropriate amount of torque. Don't worry about the holes. You will notice that the ring itself has a bunch of settings along the ridge, going from +2 all the way to -6, as well as a white dot here. And what the white dot is an indicator to tell you what your diopter settings are. And diopter is basically a fancy word for corrective vision. So for example, if you're near or farsighted and you decide to not use your corrective lenses and use this, you could basically dial this to, let's say your prescription, which is let's say -3.0. You could dial this to -3, look through it, and you could see perfectly as if you were wearing your glasses. That being said, I don't know if that's necessarily a good use case or like a good best practice to, you know, not have your regular corrective lenses on. Whenever we ship these devices, we usually ship these with the infinity stop and the infinity set, and we usually set this to about -0.5. Why -0.5 and not 0? It's because most people's eyes, about 80 to 90% of people's eyes, are actually around -0.5 when it comes to this eyepiece. The PVS-31 alphas also come with a -0.5 diopter naturally, so that's basically what we decided to set it at. Obviously, you can just adjust it by twisting this. Again, easiest way to think about this is, it's intuitively designed, right? Meaning that all of the textured surfaces are meant to be user manipulated. So your objective lens, your battery cap, your knob, power knob, as well as this, these are all control surfaces, and anything that's smooth, so like your infinity ring, this entire eyepiece assembly, this ring back here, etc., those are not really meant for users to mess around with. So if you do need to adjust your diopter, just go ahead and basically spin this ring left and right depending on what you need it to be. Again, for most people it's going to be between 0 and 1, but again, play with that and find out what works best for you. So long story short, when you get your device, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pull it out, put a battery in, and in a dark room or dark outside, turn the device on and set your infinity. Like I said, these should be set from us for infinity already. And then next is basically look through the device and turn this until you get a good looking image. And this is a little bit of trial and error, but as I said, it's between 0 and 1. Moving on to this, this is called, this ring is actually removable. So if you take this out, this is called the eye cup retaining ring. And the reason why that's called the eye cup retaining ring is because it retains the eye cup. And the eye cup is actually included in the bag. For some of our binoculars, the eye cup will already be attached. You can basically rip it off. So what the eye cup is essentially is basically, you put the eye cup retaining ring on, you spin it on, and then this eye cup is basically screws on there. And what this allows you to do is basically, put this over your eye, shields your eye from any other, distracting lights and things. It prevents backsplash. And what backsplash is, if you're ever in a dark room and you see other people with night vision, you'll notice that you're able to see their eyes lit up from the brightness of the image intensifier, splashing onto their eye. This actually removes that because it shields your eye completely. So it's almost like, it's kind of like blinders, so to speak. We don't really use these, but again, everyone's a little bit different. The reason why we don't use it is because you lose a lot of that situational awareness and a lot of your peripheral vision as soon as you start using this. But again, it's included. Use it if you'd like. What you found though is that when you remove this eye cup retaining ring, and you'll see instantly here that if you remove it, you actually get a substantially bigger eye box and field of view into your device. So that's another reason why we don't really run these. Again, it's there if you want to use it. And then kind of going into other contents of the bag, you'll notice that this will also come with your kit. This is called a demist shield. The demist shield will actually snap into your eye cup retaining ring. And you can kind of instantly see already right now that it further reduces your field of view. But what this does is it kind of acts as a sacrificial lens. It kind of keeps the fog out from your device, etc. Is it the best solution? Probably not. We do have sacrificial lenses that we do sell that kind of replaces this entire assembly and protects your lenses against impacts, dust, debris, etc. So, but again, these are included. And then moving on to other stuff in the bag. This is a snap-in sacrificial windows. Basically, just put this over your device and you get a nice clear sac lens. Is it good? Yeah, it's not too bad. Does it fall out all the time? Yeah, totally. It basically is a press in, so you can see how easy I'm able to just put in and remove it. Some people, what they do is they put a piece of tape around it to secure it. You can do that if you'd like. If you're looking for something a bit more secure, we also sell these screw-in sacrificial lenses, which are a lot more secure. Also scratch resistant. Kind of going on to the last few bits is really the skull crusher. So for our pro monoculars, we also include this bad boy. Not a whole lot of experience with this, but basically, if you had to kind of get this device under your head in a pinch, don't have a helmet, and you don't mind wearing this funky headgear, go nuts. Yeah, like it's pretty adjustable. It doesn't have a lot, like it's called a skull crusher because it's probably pretty uncomfortable. But essentially it gives you a bayonet receptacle, which your PVS-14 J-arm does kind of snap into. So it does work. It does get the device on your head. It comes with a few other brow pads to make it less uncomfortable. But yeah, so that's basically what comes in the bag. That's it. So hope that was helpful and gave you a few extra tips and tricks on how to make the most out of your PVS-14. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when we post new videos, and we'll see you on the next one.